Okay, I think it's live. Can't do anything with my hair. This is going to be like a vlog or a TikTok kind of looking thing. Wow, it's even worse looking at it in the camera. All right. Well, normally I have my airsoft videos or a World of Tanks video, and Veterans Day just passed a couple days ago. Long story short, I've been playing that game for a very long time, and I had noticed after I verified my status as a veteran, I got a bunch of the stuff, and then subsequently things didn't come into my account like they should have. I never want to be ungrateful. I'm never that kind of person. But I felt that I should reach out, and I had looked at my past tickets. The last time I reached out was like 2015, and it was a question about if my tank was on fire and I drive into the lake, why is the fire still burning? So it was a simple thing about game mechanics, but the game's come a long way since then. Long story short, they gave me the Patriot tank because of my verified status, and I responded with a thank you or their ticket response. But I also felt the need to express how grateful I am through this. Not that anyone probably will ever see the video, but I have gone to events around the world where World of Tanks was there. Some of the developers in different regions were there, specifically the European servers. I got to meet some of them, talk about the game mechanics, and generally do stuff that was very inspiring to wanting to do what I'm doing now. But life events and things changed, and for years people have said, well, you love video games so much, you should jump into this. And I love video games. I like the community that I'm trying to preserve. Like I said, having all these different people, all these different viewpoints, it's wonderful. And the fact that we can generally respect each other. Sorry, I have something stuck to me. And nobody's getting, upset, ostracized, etc. And I want to say thank you to everybody that I interact with on multiple platforms, whether I talk to them for years or not. It all leads up to this great experience. And even if we just meet each other as old term, as a blueberry in the game, or as just a general matchmaking, match goes, it brings a good level of experience. There's some mismatches, better players. Let's just put hacking and cheating aside, okay? Because I remember growing up when we didn't have internet on our video games, and people still believe there was hacking, even though you're sitting right next to each other on the same console. It's so bizarre. That stuff aside, players that are generally very good and can just whip people easily, to the new guy coming in, they all help to make every person in that match better, ultimately. You learn different tactics. You learn different play styles. Maybe a gun that you weren't good with, you see somebody taking down a lot of people, and you go, hey, I want to learn that. And I see a lot of these videos going on TikTok and Facebook gaming and YouTube. Use this, use that. This is better. You're terrible for doing that. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you is what matters. Me, I've always loved an M16 and an M9. If it's an M4, it's fine. I did not mean that to rhyme. That's how I play. And Battlefield. I think it was all the way from Battlefield 2. I've just played the same thing and I got really good. And there was a point where I've gotten in trouble a few times because of my performance in some matches. People thought I was hacking or whatever and reporting gaslighting, etc. So I went as far as to double down on trying to nerf myself, where I removed the grenade launchers because That's a tactic. If there's a sniper and I'm using a gun with an iron sight, I want to get him out of where he's, held up. That's what the grenade launcher's for. I was using an ACOG with it, and I learned how to control it very well, and I made it work for me. Then people got upset, so I made it iron sights, and I would snipe with it from a distance. I have saved videos on Xbox a long time ago. They're still on my profile, where I've made amazing shots. I don't know how I was doing that necessarily. I know that at the moment it happened, there's maybe a 2 to a 5 minute video for each one, but I was trying for much longer than that to get those people. It is what it is at the end of the day. But Battlefield 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it went to Battlefield. No, sorry, it was 2, 3, 4. Then it went to Battlefield 1. Then it was Battlefield 5. So that order doesn't matter. I've played all of them. The Battlefield 1942, same thing. Call of Duty, another thing. I like that one for zombies. Always liked zombies. I'm sadly not going to play Vanguard. It's not continuing the story in any sense that I can see yet to make it worth my while. Halo, another one. Don't have any videos of that. It's kind of past that point. For veteran players, that's more of a personal thing. But if people want to see that, I'll be glad to do that. But I wanted to make this video to say thank you to the community for what it is and for what I'm trying to do. I'm getting good positive feedback from some people, and I enjoy it. This is not a job for me. This is purely a hobby, and purely because I want to do this, not because I need to do this, not because I want to make money. However, I will share that is a dream. If I would be able to get some monetization at some point, sure. If there was a brand I can build for Admiral Akbar, then sure. And yes, while it's a pun now for Star Wars, it's a trap. It didn't start that way. So coupled with this general thank you to Wargaming North America, which I have to say specifically that's where the ticket got answered for and I got the game put in. Again, no sponsoring, but I love the response. It's very prompt. It was within maybe 24 hours. I got a good answer and I got it fixed. Sorry, it's shaky. I'm holding this, not using a stand or anything. I came down to visit my mother and did some work on the car. So that's why I'm a little unkempt right now. It's a crazy thing to grow up with games, watch them change over the years from, I've had everything from Nintendo and Blockbuster all the way through to computers and Xbox, PlayStation. I've had 20 years, maybe 25 years, because I believe I was 5 or 6 years old when I got the Nintendo. I'd have to go check. I'm 30. I have to go fact check myself. I'm not one of those, and I'm not going to tiptoe around everything either. But I have been through a lot of this stuff. And all I can say is, look, you'll get frustrated playing the games. You will get riled up. You'll get upset. You see people do crazy stuff. You see young kids, society stuff aside, however people want to view it and take it, that aside, if it's something that brings you joy, it doesn't have to be video games. For me, it is. Movies as well. I love all the Star Wars movies. I have some Star Wars content, very limited, but also networking with people to do these videos. There's very few people that when I say trust, it's not that I don't think they can behave themselves while playing with them. It's kind of like how Rooster Teeth started. We need to have a bunch of people that are willing to sort of choreograph ourselves in private games to make some funny content and do certain things. This is what I'm hoping to do in the future. But I don't want it isolated to people that I just personally know or that I screen and then go, yes, okay, you are safe enough. I want that to be more kind of how Twitch did it, but a little bit more regulated. Killing Floor 2, or actually a game I like, Warhammer 40k Vermintide 2. There are Twitch things there. I do have a Twitch. I don't put a lot of content on there because I couldn't get it to work on Xbox, and then I was able to. I'm pursuing a new system right now, so hopefully the bots will let me get one. Aside from that, I have ambition and dreams for these things, but I also have a normal job. So I'm still going to keep it to once a week, but I had to make sure I did this thank you video. And I know it turned into a little bit extra with that, but I'm very happy and feeling loved and blessed that, say what you will about companies and the status of things, I don't get political on these things. I have viewpoints, and while some people may want to hear it and see it and share it, I can do that offline. That's not a problem. If I have to do anything online, I'm just for morality. I really am. You know, I don't think just because people have things going on in their life, they should be penalized, and vice versa. Yeah, you may have a business to run, but you shouldn't have to stomp down on people and force certain things in order to get it done. You know, that's the gist of my view. It's a little vague sounding, yes, because you can't be specific. Everything is situational in life. While my decision making may be a little bit more black and white, life isn't. Life is a blend. It's a mix, you know. You got some cashews, you got some peanuts, almonds, walnuts. You could even have those little wasabi peas in there. You know, there's a little bit of everything in there. Now, why mix all these things that I'm talking about, and it seems like I'm scatterbrained, into a thank you for wargaming? Because over the 10 years I've played that, and it's been 10 years, and I've put some good coin in there. And it wasn't coin to, and for the old guys playing the game that have been there for a while, it wasn't to buy premium rounds. It was purely for the aesthetics the tanks had. You know, I definitely did not use them the way the tanks were intended. You to more or less, an American tank, we'll just use as the example, or a German tank, doesn't matter what faction it is, but the crew of a tank that you're working on, and they're called, I call them the white tanks because those are the ones, if you read the names in the garage, the names are white, the premium tanks are gold. The white labeled tanks, your crew, I would tend to, if I finished a tier 2 and I go to the next tier, when I purchase that tank, I don't buy a crew, I roll the crew from tier 2 tank over to the tier 3. Requires them to get retrained. Now, when they're retrained, they're very bad. Now, if it was let's say a light tank, I would retrain them for the new tank, so the percentage becomes very low, but then I would put them into a premium tank. It could be a tier 8, but it would be that type of light tank of that same faction that I have as a premium. And that would help train them up faster to 100%, put them back in that tank, and then you can earn all the components and move on to the next tier. That's the intent. That is never what I did. I had their own crew for the premium tanks, and I purely used them to take the higher yield money, you know, and have these very expert crews in the tanks. So it was just easy for me to go in, try to wallop a team, and then get a good chunk of change and come out. Dynamics of the game changed over years, and now we're at a point where, yeah, you can't just steamroll people, which is good because you would get stomped. Tactics play a big part. Now they just, I think a few months ago, reintroduced this concept of a tank's role. I say concept because for years we've been talking about it, like, forgive the mispronunciation, but I will spell it. It's LOWE with an upsilon, if I'm remembering that correctly. German tank, heavy tank. Everybody argued when that tank came out if it was a heavy tank and you should be up in the front, or a sniper tank. People would say the armor, people are shooting through it like paper. It must be a mechanical issue. The game must be programmed wrong or whatever. I read the description. I looked at how the tank was designed, and all I could think of is, to me, it looks like a duck's head poking out, very slender. If somebody tries to hit it, it would ricochet, unless you had the turret to the side and they got a good dead center side shot. Couple the fact that it was a 105, higher caliber, hit hard, and it was very accurate at distance. I said, yeah, to me this seems like a sniper tank or a support in a way, but not to be up in the front. And I kind of created this idea of stages. You have first stage, which would be the guys directly in the front, basically bumping armor together, treads against hull. Like a Maus could do it, the E100 could do it. I'm not sure of all the other tanks. I play mostly the German tanks on there because they were iconic, and I loved the Tiger tank. And we'll get into that because there's 3 different ones I have. I've got the Tiger 1 white tank, tier 7, and then I have the tier 6s, the premium versions, and I now have a captured King Tiger, which is an American premium, but it's still a King Tiger tank, just also I think 1 tier lower than it actually is. So moving on from that, then you have the second tier, which would be like your KV2, the Russian snub nose high damage dealer that has very low penetration with the HE shells. That would be tier 2. So he'd be hiding behind the main line, kind of doing that. And if you think of it kind of like any medieval battle, you've got the pikemen, then you would have some sort of secondary pikemen behind them in case the first line went down. Then you would have your, shields and swords or shields and pikes. And it builds down stages like that all the way back to where then you'll have the archers, which would be the artillery. That's the way I perceive it, and that's how I try to play the game. Scouts are great. Not every scout. Now, this comes down to people's play ability and the vehicle's capabilities. I have tanks that should be able to zip past enemies and not get hit. And I should be able to swerve around, and I've built them for speed and maneuverability. I don't play that very well. Okay? The tank is designed to do that. My operating skill doesn't work that well. It's user error. The crew is maxed out. It's fine. I'm the one that can't do that. So I do more passive scouting. So when you see me using a light tank and you wonder why I'm not moving or why my passive scout is now flanking people, that is better suited to the way I play. I think of it like a hunter. I've seen it in the comments. Camper, blah, blah. No. It's hunting. Now, to go through that to tank hunters or your tank destroyers, which I feel some of them are actual tank hunters. I have a Super Hellcat, and one of my friends and I, who we've seen in probably one of my videos or two, we have the same tank. Sometimes we'll pair up and go together. That is a very mobile tank destroyer that can bring its aiming circle down super quick, fire, and get out of the way. That's like a tank hunter. It kind of harasses people. But then you have big slow ones like the Jag Tiger or the, oh Lord, what was that other one called? Ferdinand, I think. Something like that. They're very slow, but they have thick armor, so it's hard to pierce them. Or the T-95, for example. There's one. Very hard to pierce it from the front. And then you have some sort of mixed ones where they're fast-moving, but they don't zoom in that quickly, and they are high caliber, very accurate. Those, I want to say, are more like snipers. They're meant to get somewhere quickly, set up, and then fire from such a distance that they shouldn't be able to be spotted. And then they get out of the way. This would be like your, the French one, I feel like I think it's called the FOC 155. You have the Scorpion G. Yeah, things like that. Now, inversely, you have artillery, 2 different styles. Ones that stay very relatively stationary, fire constantly, and don't ever really move. Big, slow ones. I have the E100 version. I tend not to move too much, you know? Because it's hard, even with the updates to the artillery streaks and stuff, it's hard to narrow them down. Then you have ones like the French ones that have a magazine loader, so you could pop off a few rounds and move, or pop off a round, move, pop off the round, you know. But that's why those French artillery have fast movement speed. And like the tier 5 one, it just rapid fires. It's great, but those low tiers at that point, they have to start learning new tactics. Otherwise, sort of like gatekeeping, that French artillery will just stomp them, and people hate artillery. But hey, I loved what changes we've had. It's been over 20 minutes now, and I didn't want to make it this long. But I needed to say thank you. And I love the development, the way things are going. And these are just some of my thoughts. I want to try to elaborate more on them. It's hard when I'm playing a little bit because I'm focusing, but I'm trying to get better at that. And if there's anybody that wants me to do anything special, specific, whatever, or if you have ideas and you want to partner with me and we want to make something, let me know. You know, when I say partner, again, I'm not in this for monetary gain. I hope nobody else is either, as far as for what I'm trying to do. But I want to make a nice, creative, safe area so that people can come in, create something together, and sort of do what they see these people do on TikTok, YouTube, etc., Twitch, and sort of can say, yeah, I create something. And this was inspired not only from what I saw with wargaming and how they handled my situations and what I've seen over the years at these events, like at CeBIT. I think that was also 2015 in Germany when I went there. But also from college. We did a writing project. I got published in a book, which was for sale on Amazon. And while I don't get anything out of that as far as monetary value, I don't want to. But it's something great on my resume. The work is out there for people to view, you know, and I'm hoping subsequently everybody that comes through that school and does the writing class can also contribute something to that, because it's compounding. I think we did it, and it was the 3rd year or 4th year that they did it. And I thought it was great to see my name in there amongst historically famous writers. I think mine was, I don't remember the one name. I didn't know the author. I had to learn about him to comment on his stuff. But the other one was J.K. Rowling. And it was on creativity. And from that point on, I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been trying to act upon it, still while working a normal job. But I want to show people that you can do these things. You can have a hobby. You can do something fun. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Doesn't have to be something outlandish. But you take small bits of time, and then at the end of it, you'll see the full product. This isn't to squash people who want instant gratification. No, the instant gratification, and this is why communication is important, is look at what we've done. We've filmed. I film live. It goes up right after. There's barely any editing because I keep myself accountable, as I hope anybody else would. Curses slip. Things get said. I definitely try not to make it anything confrontational, and if there's ever a problem, I will talk it out. Because by no means should anybody be hurt by my content or anybody that I associate with. Okay? But I also am not responsible for what people's reaction is, you know, in certain situations. And I'm referring specifically to Airsoft that I play. I can't make them think the way I think, but I can try to talk them through it and get them to understand that we're here together to have fun, to do something great. And that's it. Whatever happens in the middle, we can discuss it, but I can't say don't take it personal. That just seems so like a cop-out. It's more of don't take it to heart. There's been matches, and I will use comparisons to video games a lot, as people may have noticed. I'll go into a match with an expectation of something I'm trying to do and accomplish, get none of it done, FAIL, if you will. FAIL is an acronym, first attempt in learning. And you can do that a lot. And it's okay. But then you talk with yourself, you go through it. Okay, what can I do better? What can I do differently, etc. I've had people with airsoft definitely doing things that I don't agree with. I don't care if the weapon was semi-auto and you have this little two-finger action going on, making it fire, and every pull fires one, and when you let go, it fires one. I don't agree with that. But I overcome, I adapt, I improvise. But I take it as a challenge of, if I can just beat him once, if I could just eliminate him one time, I have accomplished something. But that's for me, okay? How the other kids react to him or that person, I can't control that, but I can try to get them to see my viewpoint. That's it. Have a great day, guys.